So what if I were to tell you that the number one thing that CarMax did to revolutionize the automotive industry, make them a household name, and make them blow up to over 248 stores across the United States is the exact same thing that's causing its demise? So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of CarMax. Now, CarMax came out with one idea in mind. The one thing, like I said, their claim to fame. They wanted to put out something with a simple price structure that was non-negotiable, wasn't haggling. They wanted to make car buying easy. A lot of people said it would never work. People like to haggle, they like to go back and forth. It's just something that's built into the car industry. And they thought of a point, well, if we can just get a flat margin on every single car, we'll be able to excel and grow. And sure enough, they did. It took a while. People were very upset for the first few years. They would try to go in and negotiate on a car because they're so used to it, and they told them, no, it's non-negotiating. And so a lot of people left going to other stores because it was kind of normal to negotiate. But little by little, CarMax gained steam. And like I said, right now, there's a little over 248 stores across the United States. And they realized they shouldn't only be selling cars, they should also be buying cars as well. And that's where the car buying center became. Now, this was another thing I believe that CarMax kind of revolutionized, and it got a lot of people into this. From day one of opening up my dealership, we started buying cars off the street. I think you get a much better deal. You could talk to the customer, you get more time to check on it compared to being a regular dealer buying them at auction. So CarMax decided, you know what, why chase all these cars all across the United States? We got all these locations scattered around there. This would literally simplify the logistics if we were buying a large percentage point of our cars through these online applications where people can basically submit their cars, we give them an approval, and there you go. But they didn't know that the fact that it would blow up overnight. There was hundreds, if not thousands of people within the first weekend submitting their cars. And little by little, people started getting to know that CarMax was the great place to take your car in, get an instant quote, and drive away. A lot of people don't want to haggle with selling it online and dealing with people and going through all the rigmarole. So they'll take a little bit less money to get cash today and just walk out with a check. And so it worked so well that they got too many cars from that, and they were kicking out a lot of cars. But then they realized that going to the auction, seeing these exact same cars, let's say older, higher mileage units selling for much more money, they said, you know what, why don't we not only buy these cars and keep them for our lots, but the ones that don't fit our little box of what we want to stay in, let's go ahead and sell them to other dealers across the United States. And that's why almost every CarMax you see, believe it or not, has a little miniature auction house built into the side of it. Usually with larger cities, there's one hub location where all the trade-ins go. So they're buying thousands of cars every single week, and they're basically stuffing them into their auction and they're running them through. And that became another profit center. So now their claim to fame of basically non-negotiating sales, they're buying cars to reduce their price so they can keep that 20% margin that they're getting. On top of that, they're selling cars to dealers and making a profit on them as well. What else can CarMax do to raise the bar? They decided to go with their own finance company. For years, they used Wells Fargo, Capital One, all these other banks as guinea pigs to see exactly what they were buying, how they were buying it. They kept all that data and then eventually said, you know what? We're going to make our own finance arm and we're going to keep all these tier one customers. So now that was another profit center that CarMax was making. Majority of their tier one customers, the ones that you want on your paper, were going straight to them. So whatever deal that basically came out, CarMax would basically beat the points and wind up taking that customer. A lot of people see that as a conflict of interest, whatever, but that's just business 101, you know? Now, I think it's just smart business, the fact that they used these other banks to prove their theory, but once they had a proven concept, they knew that that was the thing to do. So let's go ahead and fast forward to 2020, when basically everything got shut down, everybody was scared. CarMax decided, you know what, we're going to drop our prices of our cars for the first time across the board. I saw a lot of my friends telling that they were going to go ahead and lower cars just a little bit just to help push them out, but they refused to do any type of negotiations. People still tried. I even tried myself. They wouldn't do it. But during the pandemic, as you guys know, there was a shortage of cars everywhere. So all the cars started going up. During their auction, they realized that there were so many people basically buying cars for way over what they were buying them for. They just put more money in the market in the buying, and they were buying every single car from every single person they possibly could. All the cars they had on their current lots started flying off the shelves. So what did? They kept buying more cars and raising the prices up. And this is why you saw such a dramatic from 2020 to 2022 price hike. It just went nuts. Everybody just kept feeding that machine and adding more cars and raising up used car prices. But let's go ahead and talk about the middle of 2023. Now, we saw that sales basically fell off a cliff. Everything was getting slower. Banks weren't approving as many people. And we started to see cracks in the foundation. The economy is not as good as what the government says it is. People don't have the money. So what is Carmax going to do? Well, traditionally, us dealers are taught we follow the market. If everything is slowing down and cars are getting cheaper, we need to adjust their prices. Every single dealership across the United States has some sort of software that lets them know what the other cars are priced at in their area. So that's why if you see dealers raising and lowering their prices all the time back and forth, it's because it's showing you what the market is doing. So if somebody lowers their car, they need to lower their car. And then once the other guy sees that that guy lowered his car, he has to lower his car. And it's kind of a back and forth thing. But if the market says it's going up, watch how fast these guys go from $25,500 to maybe $26,000. That's the way the market goes. It's always going up and down. But what about Carmax? They don't, raise and lower their prices that often. They don't really keep up with the market. They buy the car at a certain dollar point, they hike it up a certain percentage point, and then they make their profit. And that's just what it is. But that's one of the things that I want to talk about today is this is why the downfall of Carmax is happening very quickly. Now, they're not going to go out of business. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're going to lose tons of money because of their business model. Their one claim to fame with no haggling prices and nothing else simply isn't working in today's market. If you look, there's lots of new and used cars getting cut down quite a bit when it comes to discounts and prices, and you have to do this stuff every single week because that's how fast the market is moving in some areas. So you can look at literally on CarMax and find cars that cost more on CarMax than what you can buy them for probably brand new at like a Hyundai or Kia dealership. It's crazy. And so this is just showing what the market's going, but CarMax, like I said, refuses to lower their prices. That is not their business model. So if people come in saying, hey, there's 13 cars around our area that are at the exact same price, but a little bit lower than what you have it on, but I want to buy yours because I'm looking for a blue one. Can I buy yours for this price? CarMax will always say no. And so now that they're having sluggish sales when it comes to not only their retail sales, but also when it comes to them buying cars at the auction. Because remember, they paid a lot of money for a lot of junk. And as that basically gravy train slowed down and dealers don't have money, people are not buying cars, now those cars are starting to pile up at the auction. Remember, we talked about this quite a bit, that this is going to be the buildup that's going to crush a lot of dealers. And unfortunately, CarMax is feeling the pressure from all those cars building up in inventory. I guarantee you this, you can go to any CarMax across the United States and that thing will be packed to the gills. Not only that, there'll be cars in the back absolutely full. Now, this is a good thing and it's also a bad thing because they have the capital, they have the money to basically buy whatever they want, whenever they want. So them basically saying, hey, no, we got to keep buying even though the market's slowing down just to make sure we stay pace, basically bit them in the ass. Where most people, hey, I'm not making that much money, sales are slowing down, I'm not going to buy a new car to replace the one I just sold. I'm just going to wait a little bit and see where the market goes. So now we have CarMax dealerships full to the gills. We have the auction lane that's absolutely filled. And every time I go to bid on these cars, I can't get anything. They literally want almost retail prices for the cars that they bought. I literally bought a car off of ACV and I'm probably going to go ahead and resell it to CarMax because they're going to give me more money than what I bought it for at auction, which is absolutely crazy. And every once in a while, you'll find those deals where they love certain cars and it's a sweet spot. I can't tell you, but there are ones out there if you go ahead and check and look, and they will pay top dollar because those are the number one sellers for them. And so I think people have learned this, and so they're literally buying these cars and turning them around and taking them back to CarMax, basically adding to their inventory. So what is CarMax to do? They can't break their golden rule because remember, that's what they're known for. They cannot lower the prices, they can't haggle, it is what it is. Now, every once in a while, you will see them lower price when a car sits there for longer than, I think it used to be 90 days, now they said it was like somewhere around like 6 months, they don't want to lower prices. But correct me if I'm wrong if you work for CarMax in the description below. But it takes a long time for them to even drop the price a little bit. So do me a favor, walk around CarMax, because I'm not going to do that in my videos. I know one of my friends, Brandon, if you guys watch Car Question Answered, he walks around and he checks all those cars and stuff like that. It's too hot in Vegas right now. It's 100 degrees. I already got sunburn on the back of my neck. But you could see some of these car prices, and just for fun, each car you look at, go look at Facebook Marketplace, Auto Trader, Car Gurus, whatever you use, and you will see a cheaper car guaranteed in your area. Unfortunately, I think CarMax has finally hit the point where they need to do something quick. They need to do a rapid price reduction all the way across. take the hit, buy new cars, and move on. Stop keeping the prices where they're at. I know you guys don't want to negotiate, and I know you guys don't want to lower prices, but you have to do something, because literally you can look at any lot and it's filled to the gills. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I'd love to know your opinion of what Carmax is doing. Do you love the way that Carmax does business? Do you like the fact that you don't have to negotiate, it's just a solid price? Or do you like negotiating and you want to haggle with them a little bit? Also, I'd love to know, in your area, are the Carmaxes absolutely full? Have you seen them with side lots? Anything else like that? Do you guys have any stories of Carmax paying way over market for certain cars? Please chime in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys so much again. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. We just broke 500,000, which is absolutely insane. I'm going to do something special probably here in the next week or two, maybe a live Q&A session. But I want to thank you guys, because literally 2 years ago, we were at, I think, 10,000 subs. So we weren't really big. We were a small page. I was just talking about the car business and stuff like that. And then unfortunately the pandemic happened and it kind of made us blow up. But the fact that, you know, we've gotten here, I wouldn't have been able to do it without you guys. So I want to thank you guys so much again. Please follow me on Instagram at Lucky Lopez. We post funny stuff there all the time, and we'll see you guys next video.